Malik Willis drops to the Titans at number 86. Obviously, NFL general managers, who knows if Kenny Pickett goes in the first round, if Pittsburgh and the Panthers and the Steelers don't share facilities. I mean, that some of that felt like they'd seen so much of Kenny Pickett that they drafted him. What was the NFL saying about Malik Willis? I mean, what they were saying, I mean, Howell, the UNC kid, in the 5th round, I think.
I struggle with the word dropped. I mean, did a lot of teams have him viewed as a first-round player? He had some first-round attributes, huge arm, athletic guy, but as a player, he was not very good. And this notion, though, Josh Allen was 6'5.5", ran like Cam Newton, and could throw the ball out of the stadium. I mean, he's a pretty unique case. So if we're always going to use him as the example, I think a lot of teams aren't comfortable with doing that. I think both him and Desmond Ridder went where they were supposed to go. We act like there's something wrong with going in the 3rd round. I mean, most humans that play the sport of football never sniff the NFL, let alone get drafted. Going in the 3rd round is still pretty impressive as a quarterback.
Right. Russell Wilson went there. We know
Dak
Brady
Prescott,
Montana.
4th rounder. Yeah. I mean, Kirk Cousins. Like, I just think there are only so many picks in the first round, really the first 2 rounds, right? And a large percentage of teams have quarterbacks that they've recently drafted or guys under big contracts that they're not going to draft a quarterback. So the percentage of teams that are going to draft a rookie quarterback high is already cut by 50%, maybe even higher. So it's a small percent. We act like every team is in the mix. It's just not true. Look at Tennessee. They could have taken a quarterback, but they easily could have not. I just think they saw value there. They have a starting quarterback. It makes a lot of sense. Same thing with Desmond Ridder. What's his comparison? Kind of like a Mariota type guy, right? Arthur Smith, resurrected Ryan Tannehill, athletic guy. Good spot for him.
I want to I'll ask you one more draft question, then I want to get into some NIL stuff because I think it's fascinating. So, when I looked at the draft overall, it didn't have any stars, but I saw Isaiah Spiller go in the 4th round of the Chargers. He was super productive the last 2 years, 6 foot 220, Texas A&M, big, productive.
Can run. Yeah.
Oh, and I'm like, it can't be that bad of a draft. That guy went in the 4th round. There was also a player, a safety for Oklahoma. He's small. It's a hyphenated name. I apologize. I forget his name. He went in the 5th round, and I'm like, oh, he'll make the league. My takeaway was if there would have been 4 quarterbacks in this draft, would we have looked at it differently? Did your people as a former scout say, I was told players ran out, late 5th, you ran out of players. But I don't think it was that weak. I kept going back round after round after round. I'm like, God, Isaiah Spiller was fantastic for A&M, and he went in the 4th round.
I think the majority of the drafts, like after pick 100 to 200, are relatively the same. You're going to find Pro Bowl guys. You're going to find all-pro guys. You're going to find really good players. But the draft ebbs and flows with the power of it at the top. And obviously, last year was pretty unique. You had the Jets going to take a quarterback at number 2. The 49ers made this historic trade. Belichick was going to take a quarterback. The Chicago Bears ended up with Justin Fields, who became very polarizing. All the star power from the position players. So I think that's why the draft, and I saw you on Twitter talking about why the ratings were down. Well, 8 teams in that first-round picks. San Francisco, major market. Chicago, major market. Denver, major NFL market. I mean, why would you even watch the draft if your team's not even picking? And some of these teams didn't have 1st or 2nd round picks, like the Raiders, like the Broncos. So it was a unique draft in terms of how many teams had multiple picks really high. But I'm with you. Like, you can get good picks. I never have huge takes on 4th, 5th round players because you go to enough training camps, you watch enough preseason football that undrafted free agents, that's the unique part about football, right? All of a sudden, by the 2nd week in training camp, you're like, I think we might have a starting guard as an undrafted free agent or a starting safety. Happens every team, the good ones and the bad ones. So, I think the pressure and the hype gets put on the top guys, but you can always find George Kittles and Richard Shermans. It happens in literally every draft.